The Chiefs bounced back in a big way last week with a three-phase victory over the Lions. And now back to 500, they'll have a chance to keep things rolling this Sunday in a matchup against an old rival in the Las Vegas Raiders. Well, there's plenty to talk about after last week's performance, but I want to start with the Chiefs' offense, which scored at least 28 points for the third game in a row on Sunday. They've scored 95 points during this stretch, marking their most points in a three-game span since late in the 2021 season. And the man at the wheel for the whole thing has of course been Patrick Mahomes, who's playing at an MVP level right now. He actually leads the NFL through Week 6 in total offensive yards with more than 1,700 and offensive touchdowns with 15, 11 passing and 4 on the ground. Those 15 total touchdowns are his most through 6 games since the 2022 season when, you guessed it, he won league MVP. Mahomes also became the fastest player in NFL history to reach 300 career passing touchdowns on Sunday, beating Aaron Rodgers by 8 games. And his 92 quarterback wins also matched Peyton Manning for the most ever by a player aged 30 or younger. Hopefully, he'll break that record this weekend. Mahomes is spreading the football all over the place too. The Chiefs are one of just 3 teams across the NFL to feature 4 players who each have at least 220 receiving yards on the season, those being Travis Kelce, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Tyquan Thornton. Notice that group doesn't even include Xavier Worthy, who's averaging 11 yards per touch since returning from that shoulder injury, and after more than a calendar year, the Chiefs are also getting Rashee Rice back this week for the first time since Week 4 of last season. Now, just in case you need a reminder of the kind of season Rashee was having before he got hurt last year, he led the NFL in catches and ranked second in receiving yards through the first 3 weeks of the 2024 season. The injury then obviously derailed what had the makings of a potentially special year, and then he was suspended to begin this season. But now he's back, and hopefully he'll be able to pick right back up where he left off. It's also worth pointing out that Rashee, Xavier Worthy, and Hollywood Brown have never played together despite all being under contract since April of 2024. Well, we finally get to see that trio, plus Kelce, Tyquan, Juju, and the rest of the Chiefs' weapons, all together in a game this Sunday. And we'll need all of them to be at their best against a Raiders defense that has struggled on the surface, but still features some really talented players, particularly on their defensive front. These guys have 14 sacks as a team this year. That's actually tied with the Chiefs for the 11th most in the NFL. And the man leading the way is of course Max Crosby, who has 4 sacks and 25 pressures on the season. Malcolm Koonce is another player the Chiefs will need to watch out for on Sunday. The last time we saw him, he had 3 sacks on Christmas Day. The Chiefs can't let that happen on Sunday. Now, the Raiders are allowing 24.8 points per game this year. That's 23rd in the NFL. They're also 25th in the league on third down, but the Raiders' offense has done their defense no favors, and we'll talk more about that here in a moment. But the Las Vegas defense has taken the field in their own territory 13 times this year. That's second most of any team in the NFL, and 6 of those have ended in touchdowns for the opponent. So I think the defense here in Las Vegas is better than the stats might indicate, and the Chiefs will need to be ready for it. Now, on the other side, the Raiders' offense is interesting because they have some really good players. It just hasn't led to a bunch of points this year, and there's a couple reasons behind that. First, turnovers. The Raiders have 11 giveaways this year, tied for the most of any team in the NFL, and quarterback Geno Smith is responsible for nearly all of those, with a league most 10 interceptions. He's thrown at least 1 pick in 5 of his 6 games this year, and those giveaways have directly led to 35 points for the opposition. So that's reason number 1. The second factor that's held back the Raiders' offense so far this year has been their red zone touchdown efficiency. They're scoring touchdowns at just a 39% clip in the red zone. That ranks 31st in the NFL. So when you combine the giveaways with a low touchdown percentage in the red zone, that's why the Raiders' offense hasn't been scoring a whole lot of points this year. But still, these guys have a lot of good players, the biggest of which being Brock Bowers at tight end. He hasn't played since Week 4 due to a knee injury, and as of this recording, I don't know if he'll play on Sunday. It sounds like it could go either way. Regardless, his status will be one to watch. One player we know will be playing, though, is tailback Ashton Jeanty, the number 6 overall pick in the draft back in April. And this is a good example of where the traditional numbers don't tell the full story. That's because on the surface, he's 9th in the NFL in rushing right now with 424 yards, and he's averaging just over 4 yards per carry. Those numbers don't jump off the page, but look a little closer, you'll see that among running backs, he ranks 2nd in the NFL in forced missed tackles this year with 26, and his 376 yards after first contact ranked 3rd in the league. So for the Chiefs defense in this game, that's got to be the first priority. Slow down Jeanty and make this Raiders offense one-dimensional. Fortunately, the Chiefs did a great job of that exact thing just last week. holding the Lions' high-powered running game to under 100 total yards. It was just the third time in the Lions' last 23 games that they were held under 100 total rushing yards, and as a result, Detroit was held under 20 points for just the third time in that span. Keep in mind, the Lions entered last week's game as the #1 scoring offense in the NFL. In their 4 games before heading to Kansas City, they had scored 52 points, 38 points, 34 points, and 37 points before managing just 17 points against the Chiefs. And the key to that success? Complementary football. If you caught last week's video, I talked about how the Lions were playing the best complementary football in the NFL up until that point. Well, it was the Chiefs who did that on Sunday. The offense kept pressure on Detroit by scoring on 5 of 7 possessions, forcing the Lions to throw the ball and play right into the hands of the Chiefs' defense. The result was a complete victory all around, and looking at the defense specifically, one thing that stood out to me was Trent McDuffie's usage in the slot. He was in there on a season-high 17 snaps last week, allowing 1 catch for a grand total of 4 yards. Raiders receiver Jacoby Myers has been really productive out of the slot this season. He has 18 catches for 204 yards and notably 106 yards after the catch, 4th most of any receiver in the league. That could be a matchup to watch on Sunday. Now, I want to wrap up by talking a little bit about the Chiefs' incredible run of success in divisional games under Coach Reid. And I get it, past performance doesn't necessarily mean anything for this game, but I think it speaks to the track record of preparation the Chiefs have displayed for matchups against AFC West opponents. The Chiefs are 56-17 against the AFC West since 2013, easily the best record for any team against their own division in that span, and Patrick Mahomes specifically is 35-6 in those games, marking the top winning percentage in divisional games for any quarterback since the AFL-NFL merger in 1970. Mahomes is 12-2 in his career against the Raiders, and with an opportunity to finally get over 500 for the first time this season, he'll have a chance to add to those numbers on Sunday.